Well, a resilient city has to be resilient in a lot of different ways. We certainly need to invest in making the physical infrastructure strong, whether that's seawalls or tunnels or just making sure that our water pipes will resist earthquakes. But it's also about how people react, how people prepare, how people can help each other. So our community resilience plan and program gets very, very local. We call it hyper-local when it gets down to the level of individual streets. One of the projects that we've been working on, we have an annual Neighbours Day. It's usually a whole weekend, and we encourage people to have things like street barbecues or invite their neighbour over for a cup of tea or a glass of beer, depending on the culture. And we have a lot of people who from elsewhere. Only a third of Wellingtonians were actually born in the capital. Another third are from around New Zealand, and the final third are from overseas. And it means that we need to actually build the networks. You don't necessarily know everybody in your community already. Our street has a Friday night fish and chips from time to time, or sometimes the Thai takeaway, and just invite all the people in the street. And it's a nice mixture of people who've been there 30 years and people who are just renting there for 6 months. And it gives everyone a real sense of just day-to-day friendship. And that's been the big lesson when we're building social capital, building community resilience. You can't build it in the abstract. You have to do something nice. You have to go for a walk or have a meal together to get to know each other. Well, Wellington has a number of natural hazards that we need to be aware of. We've got some really good scientists in the capital with national institutions like Geological and Nuclear Sciences, National Institute of Water and Atmosphere. And a lot of people in Wellington sort of vaguely knew there might be a tsunami one day. It might be because of an earthquake in Chile, or it might be a nearer disturbance. But when we looked into it, people didn't really know how far inland the waves might go or how far up. So when we were working with one of the communities to explore how they might be better prepared, they came up with the idea of painting a blue line on the street. Just a physical, just like you have white lines to divide the lanes, or you might have yellow lines to say no parking, we've got a blue line that goes across the street where we think the reasonable likelihood of a reasonably large tsunami might reach. So there's been quite a lot of science behind that to actually say, if it's on a hillier street, obviously it'll be nearer to the sea level. If it's come further inland on a flat area, it'll be further away. And what that's done, we went through it with the schools and with the local communities, and it's created a daily reminder to be prepared. I've known children who have been so worried about the idea of tsunami that they think that the whole city will be inundated, and that's just not the case. And then there have been other people who said, oh, there's nothing we can do. That's also not the case. So giving people the information, reminding them about it on a daily basis means that a family can plan how are they going to get to the right side of the Tsunami Blue Line. It might be up some private steps, it might be hopping on their mountain bike, preferably not driving because we're concerned that people will get stuck in a traffic jam. And most suburbs have got somewhere reasonably within 10 minutes reach that would take them out of the danger zone. I think one of the interesting things is how common the challenges are, whether you're a big city or a little city, whether you're English speaking or Chinese speaking, whether you're growing rapidly or not, the issues of transport, of access to information, of preserving biodiversity, of affordable housing, they're actually the same challenges, but the solutions have to be tailored to each city. I've certainly learnt about the value of being realistic about what you can do. it's very good hearing Mayor of one of the cities in the Philippines talking about how they hadn't been as prepared as they should have been before a disaster, and just realising that our citizens need to know we can never be 100% prepared, and that the council's not going to come and step in and do everything for them. They have to take some responsibility in their households, in their planning, and in their schools and businesses as well. And that's been a common theme, that it's not all about government, it's not all about the individual. We need to be working together. The other thing that's been really good is hearing about how many cities are really committed to reducing their climate change emissions. And again, their priorities as to how they do that are different. For some, it's integrated traffic management with some very sophisticated electronic systems. For others, it's just putting in more bike lanes. But they're all pretty committed to reducing their emissions.